Music for us tonight, and we certainly want to thank Mr. Mandel Barnett and the DJ Go Ham for the outstanding music he provided tonight. Let's give him a hand. For your next upcoming events, be sure to support Brother Barnett. His cards are available at the table back there. A couple of housekeeping things we just want to express to you tonight. When you walked in the building and you signed in, there were a number of handouts that were made available for you. The first is that on Tuesday, April the 18th, here at our church at 6:30, our Civic Action and Social Justice Committee sponsored an evening for Pontiac and politics, of which we came to discuss as a group of individuals who were interested to share that evening just what we desire to see for our city and for it being successful. And in that evening, we really provided what would be qualifications for individuals running for mayor and individuals running for a city councilman. At least qualifications that we thought would be befitting of those two respective offices. And so the form that you have tonight looks like this with the New Bethel logo in the front, but it just kind of shares exactly what we expect out of leaders who are running for members of city council as well as mayor. And so we hope that you will have an opportunity to take advantage of perusing through these. And if you feel that these are values that you share, we want to ensure that as we make our decisions in August and again in November, that we are informed voters and that we not go to the polls and just vote based upon personalities. But certainly we all know the reality of what's taking place here in the city of Pontiac. And as we move forward in this city to make it the successful city that we know it can be, we know that we also need promising candidates who have the wherewithal to be able to lead us into the successful future that we all wish to see. And so again, this is nothing about personalities. It's just about what we feel is a good basis for individuals who should be running for city council as well as mayor. We hope you'll take opportunity to look through some of those things. Also, we want you to know just very briefly that we are in the process of providing affordable quality child care services here at New Bethel. And if you know of parents who are in need of those child care services, we are continuing with our enrollment there. Enrollment forms were made available for you, as well as some of you may have heard of the outstanding academic program that we have called Camp Hosanna. If you have young people who need to have something to do during the summer, there's a very affordable program that we offer here for young people. The application is only $50 for the 3-week camp throughout the month of July. And if those parents qualify for DHS assistance, we waive the application fee for those parents. So again, welcome. Just to kind of give you a format, our candidates tonight have been seated by alphabetical order with the alphabet A, well, Bowman here to my left, and it proceeds to the W's down to our city councilwoman, Sister Patrice Waterman. It is broken up based upon mayoral candidates. So, for example, candidate Bowman is running for mayor with our incumbent again running, Mayor Waterman. And then we have our gentleman here seated next to her, who is the first of the 5 candidates running for District 1. Questions have already been provided to me, questions that I've not had the opportunity of having anything to do with. This was something that was given to me by the Democratic Club, so we want you to know how these questions came into fruition. And as the questions will be asked, they will not be asked in a specific order, but rather we want to make certain that we give individuals an opportunity to address these questions sporadically. You should also note tonight that we have a timekeeper who is here. He has already given the rules and the instructions to our candidates who will be running for office. They will know when their time is up, and I should not have to reemphasize that. If I should, they would be considered out of order. And here at New Bethel, we like to do things decently and in order. I know we in the Family Life Center tonight, but somebody say amen. Amen. So we want to be decent and in order tonight, and we know we have an ambitious schedule and many questions to be addressed this evening. But again, welcome, and we hope that you enjoy yourselves. We want to begin, maybe we'll ask one of our long-standing pastors here in the city of Pontiac that has championed a number of issues here in our community to come and open us up, please, sir. Pastor Douglas Jones, the pastor of the Welcome Baptist Church, will open us up in a word of prayer, and then we will proceed with our questions.
Thank you, Pastor Peyton, and thanks to all of you. Can we just bow our heads where we are? Gracious and eternal God, our Father, we come, we praise, glorify, magnify, we exalt your name. We thank you for your goodness and mercy and for all that you do. As we come together tonight, merciful God, we pray that you would give each of us wisdom and knowledge, that you, Heavenly Father, would give us a spirit of enlightenment, a spirit of discernment. We pray for those persons who are running for office, that they will be empowered by your spirit for leadership and for guidance. And we pray, merciful God in heaven, that what we do here tonight will be pleasing in thy sight. Now continue to bless us, to watch over us, our family, our children, even our children's children, as we praise your name. In the blessed name of our Lord Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen.
It has been brought to my attention that one thing I omitted to suggest to you tonight is that each of you should have been provided with index cards by which you can write any questions that you have for the candidates. If you have those questions, please write them on the index cards. You don't have to put your name on them. We're asking that you kindly be general in your question as to not directly address the candidates specifically for your questions. So whatever your questions are, they should be very general questions that all the candidates, whether mayoral or city council members, can be able to. It's on the notepad. Okay, use your notepads that you were issued tonight to write down your questions. And if you don't have a notepad, we can make certain that additional notepads are available for you in the back rear where you signed in. Again, to each of our candidates tonight, we welcome you. We thank you for coming to share with us on this very important evening as we look to the future, a successful one for the city of Pontiac. I'm going to open up with opening statements from each of you, beginning with our mayoral candidates. We're going to ask you to introduce yourselves to this illustrious audience tonight and also share with us why you feel you are the best candidate for running for mayor. And we'll start tonight with Mr. Coney Bowman.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Coney Bowman. Lifelong citizen of the city of Pontiac. I've been born here, raised here, educated here, and I'm running for the position of mayor for the city of Pontiac. I believe that I'm the best candidate for the job because I have a three-pronged approach to reviving our city, revitalizing our city, and making our city back, restoring it to the greatness that we once had. I have a three-pronged plan that will bring more industry to the city of Pontiac. My plan and my vision will not only bring new business to the city of Pontiac, but we will also be able to implement what we need to do to help save our children and to provide a better standard of living for our senior citizens. I have a strategic plan that will help to increase our neighborhoods, our home values, to bring our property values back up to where they used to be and beyond. Again, I'm asking for your help and your assistance. There's a light that shines bright in the city of Pontiac. And that light does not shine on Pontiac, but it shines from within Pontiac. That light is the light and the hope of the people of Pontiac. I'm asking you to vote for me and to help me to take Pontiac to the next level of greatness.
Let me see your pen.
Thank you. For the sake of time tonight, I'm going to ask that you please hold your applause, and then for the candidates who I will call upon to answer the questions, would you kindly step to the microphones that are provided in the center. At this time, addressing the introduction of yourself and your platform, Mr. Mark Holland.
First, I would like to thank Pastor and Bethel for hosting us. My mother always taught me, you don't always have to be nice, and this is nice, and we thank you for giving us the opportunity to shine. I'm running for mayor because we deserve better. And it's not about Mark Holland, it's about us. Yeah, I'm lifelong here, I grew up here, but I drive on the same potholes you do. I look at the same tall grass in the summertime that you do. And I have consistently, for these last 4 years, have not only implemented a plan, but I want to continue what I've started along with this ninth council. The vision and plan is one thing, but when you implement it, that comes production. And I want to make sure that not only our children's children, but their children have an opportunity. One of the things that we have done was wrote the millage for the youth. And then after it passed, we needed to have a plan for the youth and make sure that our youth have somewhere to go like we did when we were kids. So I ask, not only do you vote for Mark Holland, you're voting for yourself. Government is supposed to be the transition to the people. And so I asked again on August 8th, give us an opportunity to serve you, to show you what a humble servant can do, to improve our services, improve our grass cutting, improve our pothole services, improve our snow removal services, improve the quality of life. It's one thing to talk about a good game, but when you're in the game yourself, like I played in this gym several times, it's a big difference. Thank you again, and I ask for your support.
Thank you. Mr. Craig Jefferson.
Thank you, New Bethel Church. Good evening, Pontiac. My name is Craig Jefferson. And the reason in which I would ask that you vote for me for mayor is because I love this city of Pontiac. I know we all love this city of Pontiac, but I believe that we need leadership in the city of Pontiac that will want to engage and listen to the citizens of Pontiac. In order for Pontiac to turn around, it's not going to take a mayor, it's not going to take a city council, it's going to take all of us working together. I believe to work with all people, citizens from the city of Pontiac. That be black, that be white, that be Latino, that be Hmong. We have to work together in order to bring Pontiac back. I also want to focus on sustainability in the city of Pontiac. We've had some very tough times financially here in the city of Pontiac, but we need leadership in the city, and we need our elected officials to have the educational background that will be able to make decisions that are going to push us forward rather than set us back. We have to have leaders in the city of Pontiac who also understand the importance of integrity and understand the importance of being ethical and making ethical decisions for the city of Pontiac. Those are things that I stand on. I'm also huge on education. Education is huge here in the city of Pontiac, as we know that our Pontiac school system was threatened with being shut down. Now our schools are open. We have to make sure that our citizens are engaged and everyone is engaged in terms of pushing Pontiac forward. Recreation in the city of Pontiac, jobs in the city of Pontiac, home ownership in the city of Pontiac. These are all things that I, as mayor in the city of Pontiac, Craig Jefferson, will be pushing for. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lance Richardson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pastor, for hosting this event along with the rest of your team. Good evening, citizens. Rosie Lance Richardson, a product of Pontiac. Not only do I believe that our city deserves more, but being invested in the city is very important. We want to change the system in which we have so many renters as opposed to having people that actually own their homes. Our educational system, being a principal and a teacher, I invested in making sure that we do a better job in making our city a place that people want to live, visit, and have an opportunity to see what we have to offer. In addition to that, we have to make sure that we're providing jobs for our young people as well as the rest of the citizens. You know, General Motors was here for a long time, and then we had them to impact our livelihoods. My parents were a part of General Motors. We have so many things that we need to resolve in the city, okay, in terms of the feeding centers and other obligations that we have in order to make our city a better place. We want to make sure that we have a diverse community in which everyone has an opportunity to work together and have a difference. As a leader, leadership is having a vision and an opportunity with other people collectively, with city council, along the mayor working together to make sure that we make the right choices. You have to invest in your city. You have to make sure that you're looking at every aspect of the city, not only for the young people, the seniors, and the babies that are coming up. Our mortality rate is one of the highest in Oakland County, and we want to make sure that comparatively that we're making a difference in terms of where we are with our citizens, with our jobs, with our community, and that our downtowns are different. That people want to come to downtown, and it's not for a specific group of people. We want to make a difference in all the lives of all the people in the community and everything. We want to make sure that we impact
Thank you,
everyone.
Ms. Richardson.
Thank you, and have a good evening.
Mr. Al Patrick.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank the Oakland County Democratic Party for allowing me to be here, and thank all of you. My name is Al Patrick. I am born and raised in the city of Pontiac. I have the fortune of actually working in the city as well. I work for a community action agency, and I've heard talk already about a lot of people talking about what they're going to do. Well, I've been in this struggle because I have this passion for over 20 years. I've been helping senior citizens. I've been working with businesses, the youth, you name it. Being an employee of the Community Action Agency allows me to touch many folks. I've been in a position where I've been able to help folks who couldn't pay their utility bills. I've been able to help folks to get affordable housing. New businesses come in. So I'm already been doing it. I rolled up my sleeves a long time ago, and I'm still doing this work because I'm extremely passionate about it. And if you're going to do it, you got to be passionate, and it cannot be short-term. You have to be long-term. Don't let nobody fool you. Being mayor in the city of Pontiac is going to take a lot of work. But I'm here to tell you that together we can make a difference. Now, I can't do without all of you because I need your help. But with me leading the pack, we can get this done.
Ms. Riley.
Hello and thank you. Let me begin by thanking the many sponsors of tonight's event for all the great work that you all do. To all the citizens for coming out this evening, to the hosts and my church family, New Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, my pastor, Pastor Keon S. Payton, for hosting tonight's Candidates Forum. My name is Alexandria T. Riley, and I am running because we have work to do. Pontiac deserves a true leader. We need a leader that is able to lead us through experience and energy and fortitude and integrity, and that has the vision to rebuild our community. We need a leader that can bring our community together, that can renew and re-empower our neighborhoods, that can retool and re-engage our workforce, fix our roads, that can organize our people and enhance the education of our young people. I say to all of you that I have dedicated my life to this community. I am that leader, and our time is now. Many of you remember me as the child that the village raised. You remember me as a child growing up working and writing for the Oakland Press, the Citizens Post, the Michigan Chronicle. You remember me as a youth development specialist for the Boys and Girls Club, the business liaison for Michigan Works Job Link Service Center. You remember me as the program provider for the school district of the city of Pontiac for working within our neighborhoods, Walton Park Manor, Arborview Village, Newman Court Apartments. You remember me by serving on boards within our community, such as the Pontiac Area Regional Chamber of Commerce, as Vice President of the Pontiac Housing Commission. And you remember me maybe lastly running for County Commissioner, and you asked, where has she been? I've been preparing myself for this position. I have a strategic plan, and I hope to share that all with you this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Tolbert.
Be in front of all these beautiful women, and I say Happy Mother's Day to you. Okay? Now, I'll just be honest with you. I ran for the school board, and I really don't like coming to these forums because I'd much rather hear what you have to say and how we can fix the city. Because it's something that's rooted in me as far as being humble and staying rooted. Okay? My platform is presence, unity, and power. Presence, unity, and power. We do that by getting people to come back to the city of Pontiac. Businesses, people, vested in the city, providing them opportunities, and entrepreneurship, things of that nature. Education. When people ask about where they want to move, the first thing they talk about is safety and schools. So again, that's presence. The unity is when we can get past the invisible lines that separate us. He's black, she's white. She goes to this church, he goes to that church. He don't even go to church, okay? So unity is when I know my neighbor don't have a lawnmower and I go over there and cut the grass. Unity is not when I say those kids are bad down there, but they don't have a car to go to church, but you come to church and you drive right past them. Unity. Unity. The power come in when you become invested in something that's bigger than yourself. How do we do that? I'll give you an example, okay? If everybody in this city volunteer for 1 hour a month, 12 hours a year, that's power. Power. So it's a difference in money power and people power. Thank you all.
Ms. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to come talk to you and to give you an update on where we are as a city of Pontiac, as well as to talk about some of the things and the changes that I've had, that we've had together collectively as a city since I became mayor and you elected me in that position some 3.5 years ago. You know, since then, I think everybody can see that when I took office, the city was in dire financial situations. There was a lot of blight in the city was demoralized. We are today, 3.5 years later, a safer city. Our crime statistics are down. People feel safer. People are walking around downtown now to the events. We are a cleaner city. I committed to you that we would get rid of a lot of the blight, the abandoned homes in our neighborhoods that were disfiguring our streets. We have done that. We're 2/3 of the way there. We want to finish out the way. We are also a city that has come together more. We have community engagement and so many things. In fact, I've worked with so many of you. As I looked around the room, I see many of you I've worked with, whether it's on boards or commissions, on the master plan, on this youth millage that we've gotten out, that we're working hard to get a plan for, so our children can have restored to them healthy activities this summer. We've got a lot of people who've been coming together to work on that. So this is a city that has a lot of vision to it, and I came to it with a vision. I came to it when times were hard, and I stepped up, and I've been caring, dedicated, and prepared. Many hours, Deputy Mayor, right, 9, 10 o'clock at night, making sure that things were done right for this city. So I hope to tell you more, and one of the things that I can think I have a little insight and knowledge on is that I can actually tell you things I have accomplished. Things that were challenges when I set out, things that we had to fight for the city, and we are going to move forward.
Thank you. Let's give each of our candidates a hand. As we make preparation for the first real question from the Democratic Committee, we want you to know, those of you who are standing in the rear, that there are a number of seats available toward the front. If you make your way toward the front, there are a number of seats. If you have seats that are vacant next to you, if you also would kindly raise your hands so that those persons who are standing in the rear can make their way and please be seated. We also just like to remind the audience, before we raise this next question, is to please hold all of your applause until each of the candidates has been addressed and has had an opportunity to answer the question. So thank you for your compliance in that regard. The question is, what are your plans for strengthening Pontiac's neighborhoods? You have 1 minute to answer the question. What is your plan for strengthening Pontiac's neighborhoods? And we'd like to start with you, Mr. Holland.
One of our major plans is the Community Reinvestment Act. Right now, we have Flagstar with $10 million, but we have 6 banks to hold our deposits, and they should be making a greater effort to give money back to the city. And I don't mean just for car loans. I mean for remodeling. I mean for buying, purchasing. I mean for whatever it is that you need within the community. That's what the Community Reinvestment Act is for. And so once we, as a team, as mayor, go to these banks and say, look, either you start giving money back to our community and you start reinvesting in our neighborhoods, or we'll find a new bank to put the city deposits in. Thank you.
Mr. Jefferson.
What I would do to strengthen our neighborhoods are things that I currently do. I'm engaged with the community. I go out and talk to individuals in the community, especially our youth. I work with our youth. I also am, like I said, big on education in the community. From our parent university, which is a great program that is not exercised here in the city of Pontiac, and also pre-employment training programs for our youth, workforce development programs for our youth. So it's just about getting into the community, engaging our communities, rather than looking so much towards the helps from outside sources. We, as Pontiac people, have to do more for ourselves and look at doing things in our communities for ourselves. And that starts with working together.
Ms. Lansford.
Good evening again. In our communities, one thing is very important. As we look around, quite often in our community, our houses, rather than tearing those houses down, we have such a significant number of renters, is to take those homes and to make sure that people have an opportunity to purchase those homes. And we as a community work together to help them to renovate those homes, okay, and have dollars that they can use and not be in a situation where they have to pay the money back in 5 years or something if they're not able to do so. We have to find creative ways to make our neighborhoods more viable and an opportunity for people to say, okay, my neighbor may not have everything they need, or the house is vacant to me, but there may be someone that's renting. Those over 65% of the people, we need to make a difference with that and make sure that our youth have an opportunity like they did with the OTEC, where they're building houses again and making a difference in renovations. Thank you.
Mr. Patrick.
Well, the first thing I like to do in the neighborhoods is provide affordable housing. I'm currently working with Flagstar Bank with two programs. One is called the NIP and one is called the AMP. And what these programs do is they put ramps on homes when seniors need ramps. They help you to rehab your bathroom. They're putting roofs on your homes. I also have at my agency, we also have a weatherization program where we're doing roofs and we're helping to provide brand new furnaces and refrigerators. What we need to do in terms of the community is make sure that we engage the residents by providing things that would get residents out of their homes so that they can be active in the community. Let's get back to where we know having block clubs so we can interact and having programs for the kids.
Ms. Riley.
Thank you. My plan is to rebuild our city. My plan is to rebuild our neighborhoods. I am a builder by trade, and by right, I want to empower our neighborhoods by supporting and investing in home ownership. We as a community, the majority of our citizens rent. So if you look at a lot of the trends and a lot of the things that have occurred within the city, we've targeted blight and we spent a lot of money. I'll give you an example. And I know we're pushed for time, but I'll give you an example in this. I know of a situation where a lady and her family, she had 2 young children. She was living in a house. The house was condemned. The house was just arbitrarily condemned. Literally, the city came out, the inspectors, and said, all you need to do is paint and scrape the outside of the house. We're typically spending $12,000 to $15,000 tearing down homes. We can utilize those same efforts, those same funds to rebuild our city, rebuild our neighborhoods, support home ownership, and empower our citizens. Thank you.
Mr. Tolman.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to say this. First of all, we need a father's presence. We got to have our fathers back in our community, okay? We got to know our neighbors. And when there's a father's presence, that means there's a village that's going to raise the child, okay? When I grew up, my father wasn't in my life, but Mr. Benson, Mr. C., Mr. Kraft, everybody came together and they governed over the community. See, when we self-govern our community, in our neighborhood, we're a concerned citizen, okay? So when we become concerned citizens, vested in our neighborhoods, and take advantage, we'll see a change.
Ms. Walker.
Great. I've often said our neighborhoods are the bulwark of our community. People live in neighborhoods, and that's what makes a community strong, to have strong neighborhoods, to have people live safely, to live without blight. So those are the things we're taking up. I can also tell you some things that we have done during this administration to help our neighborhoods. For one thing, by eliminating the blight, we have also brought up property values. If people notice, our property values, which were flat for a long time, the year before last came up 10.6%. That was higher than any other city in Oakland County. And last year was 10.3%, still the second highest. So we're making progress in terms of the home values. You're building equity in your homes right now. One of the things we also want to do is to build home ownership. People who've never had ownership in homes or thought they can own a home. And one of the things is that we have 70% rental in this community. That makes people less stable, less have roots. So we're doing that by the Flagstar Bank. One of the things I've been working with them for a year that they're about to initiate now is the comeback mortgages. So I'll tell you more.
Thank you. Mr. Bowman.
As a former volunteer with several different organizations that have worked inside of our community, Christmas in Action, where we actually help restore homes for senior citizens in our community. Also, we've also linked the town where we came in and we volunteered and we painted houses and helped scrape houses, get houses back on the tax rolls and get them ready for people to live in. But more intricately, I've been working with a young man right now who owns 2 publicly traded companies on Wall Street. He builds spot development housing inside of older urban areas, such as the city of Pontiac. He's a multi-millionaire, and he's talking about wanting to relocate here. This isn't something new. This has been going on since I served on city council. I've kept the relationship alive as I have with many people that I worked with prior to. I volunteered for countless hours coaching for 12 years with our youth in the city of Pontiac, baseball, football, basketball, and trying to make sure that I engage our youth to find out what it is that they want. But in essence, what we're going to do is put affordable housing and make home ownership key for everybody who wants to own a home in the city of Pontiac that is able to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we transition to the next question, someone left their keys in the front that has a Wrangler tag on it. If that is you, we have your keys up front. Question number 2. And again, to each of the mayoral candidates, you have 1 minute to answer and address this question. What changes, if any, would you make to the structure or organization of the office of the mayor's administration and city departments if elected? Again, what changes, if any, would you make to the structure or organization of the mayor's administration and city departments if elected? 1 minute. Mr. Jefferson.
Changes that I would look to make would be more long-term. When we look around at cities, most cities have a manager council form of government. City of Pontiac currently has a strong mayor form of government. So I would look at, in our long term, looking at our charter and looking at if we could possibly change our city charter to a manager form of government versus a strong mayor form of government. I would also make sure that each and every department head is someone who is familiar with the city of Pontiac, familiar with the residents, familiar with the neighborhoods, the streets, and also would want to make sure that each and every individual who is staffed with the city of Pontiac is properly trained and educated or has the proper experience that will be needed to make changes in the city of Pontiac.
Thank you. Ms. Lance Richardson.
In terms of our government, we have the executive branch, which is the mayor, or we have our legislative branch, which is our council. Collectively, to work together, they're separate, but they're also equal, because collectively you can do a lot. One of the things is you have to share your documents. You have to be transparent. You have to make sure that the departments have what they need and not top-heavy on one particular area of government. You have to make sure that when contracts are there, that the council is a part of that, and you're working collectively to make sure that all the voices are heard, an open door policy so that people that want to talk to the mayor have an opportunity to do so and their voices be heard. And you also want to make sure that within the departments that they are working together to make sure that the needs of each one of the districts are met and they're working with a transparent and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you respond, Mr. Patrick, if you have small children, we're going to ask that you kindly make certain that you're monitoring your children. And as much as possible, while we understand we are in a gymnasium, we like for them to be able to relax a little bit, but we want to make certain we're respectful to each of our candidates. So again, please make certain that if you have small children, you're keeping them under the wrap so they're not being disruptive to our candidates while they're addressing the questions. Thank you. Mr. Patrick.
I think the structure is fine. I think that what needs to be changed is the names and the faces who are currently occupying those offices. I feel that one of the things that's really missing is the fact that there's no respect, there's no regard for the residents who happen to put the folks that's in those offices there. We have to get back to working with the citizens of the city and providing the necessary things that they want and going by that vision. I also feel and think that in terms of trying to bring on new persons, we have to make sure that the people that work for the city actually have a vision and that they put the residents first. For too long, we've had administrators who feel that it's the other way around, where they think they come first and residents come second. It's time that we get back to the basics and that we realize that it's the citizens first and provide the necessary services that folks pay the taxes for.
Thank you, Ms. Rice.
Fundamentally, I support our city charter, so I would not change our structure. But from a personal standpoint, going back to what I was mentioning in my opening statement as far as visibility, a lot of people have asked, where have I been at? So my answer to that is I've been preparing myself for leadership. I've been preparing myself as our next mayor. I bring a new, fresh perspective. I bring a new generation of leadership. Right now, we're paying close to $250,000 annually for two positions, the mayor and the deputy mayor, in which we brought in from outside because she happened to be a city manager. I am completing the process right now to be certified in city management and local government. So I bring that to our city, I bring that to our community, and one of the very first things I plan on doing is highlighting my background in approaching the RTAB board, the state treasury, and the governor's office to restore to the people our elected positions and our strong form of government. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tobin.
First and foremost, I would say I'm going to piggyback Mr. Patrick here. We got to become more people-centered. We got to care about our residents because we are servants. We're servants of the public. You know what I mean? So once we become more people-centered, child-centered, friendly, and welcome business. I heard somebody say it took them 2 years to get their business started. That's unheard of. It's disrespectful and it's disingenuous. And I don't like all the outsourcing that I see when I go down there. So that's one of the other things. We need our residents working. Thank you.
Ms. Water.
I can start by saying the things I actually have happened have changed in the mayor's office since I have been elected. As you remember, when I came on board, the mayor had no power. Elected officials had no power. We had to fight to restore the city to financial stability, to respectability, so that we could go back and make the RTAB and the Treasury give us back to our elected powers. So now we can actually act. I can actually be a mayor. And really, that only happened officially back last June 30th as the city administrator. We got him out of town. So at that point, I could work and use all my skills toward working toward the cities of Pontiac, so carrying the strategic vision that we had set. We had worked together with so many people envisioning. But in addition to that, financial stability has made something, given us another powers. Financial stability, I mean, we have paid off our debts. We are practically debt-free and now have a $14 million fund balance. That is what we restored. And because of that, when I came on, we had 500 employees before the emergency manager. I came on with 30.
Thank you.
And we have built that capacity and bringing in the funds.
Mr. Bowman.
It's actually quite simple. Cities just all of our assets are been sold off. Let's be real about it. Everything that we own is now belonging to someone else. So we can get out of debt real easy by doing that. But the major thing that we've got to do is make our city hall reflective of the citizens of the city of Pontiac. We have doctors here, we have lawyers here, we have statisticians here, we have people here who have municipal science and municipal finance backgrounds. So the first thing that I would do is make sure that my city hall, our city hall, is more reflective of the citizens in the city of Pontiac. We have people here who are capable of doing the job. I'm not saying that the people that are there now aren't doing the job, but if you want to affect government, you have to put people to work. If people, the power lies within the people. So if the people are working, they're purchasing homes, they're moving back into the city, they're doing what's necessary to continue to make sure that the city moves forward. So like Mr. Patrick, I would change the faces that are inside of City Hall and make them more inclusive of the city that I represent. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hahn?
Well, seeing that I'm a current city councilman, the first thing we would do is have a working relationship with the city council. The second thing we would do, we need transparency in the mayor's office. We need integrity, and we need to make sure that we are accountable to Mr. and Mrs. Pontiac. One of the things I was asked the question was, what would I change? We will add a business liaison. I won't need 2 or 3 secretaries and 2 or 3 receptionists and cell phones, but we do need a business liaison, someone who was going to work with downtown business and go out and circulate businesses like a Black Rock or a Friday, or bring some big box into this community. As I always said since I've been elected, we deserve better in this city. One thing I do know, the 7 of us that's up here, we are looking for change. So you might hear some of these answers over and over because we all see the same thing. Thank you.
The mayor comment just mentioned. When proposing budgets as mayor, what is your vision for how those funds should be utilized? We'll begin with Ms. Lance Richardson.
That's a little interesting because Mr. Hollingham being Mike. But you know, we have money that has been allocated for different areas. One of the things that we need to do is to resolve the issue with the Phoenix Center, okay? And make sure that whatever we have with that we're not taking our funds that we have and paying legal fees out with that. We need to resolve that. We need to make sure that our youth have an opportunity to be employed. We need to have programs that are important and utilized that way. We also need to change our rentals in terms of people renting, allocate money for that. We have so many areas in terms of, I've been at city council meeting where once city council meeting is over, the custodian turns the lights off. Okay, so you have to be able to have an opportunity to be in certain places to do certain things. Each one of the 7 districts needs to have an opportunity to have an amount of money to work within their districts to make a difference within their communities. It's very important, and I think along with that, one of the things that I did with the library was to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patrick?
Well, first off, I think that we should reserve some of the money for a rainy day fund. But I think that we should take some of the finances and get back to affordable housing. One of my ideals is to stop tearing all of these homes down and provide seed money so that we can take some of these homes that have been left, redo those homes, and sell them to a low-income Pontiac resident. I think that the contractors that we hire should be from Pontiac, and we can put these homes back on the market so that we can collect taxes. Also, many of the folks in Pontiac who want to open a business or have a business have difficulty with getting loans, although I'm working with 2 programs, Seed, and I'm working with Flagstar Bank. But I think what we should do is provide seed funding to some of these businesses. We have to get back to making sure that we have the things in our city that our residents need so that we can move this city forward by employing folks on a daily basis.
Thank you. Ms. Riley?
Again, my plan is to rebuild our city. One thing that we all need to be thinking about as candidates is the litigation that is currently affecting us with the Phoenix Center. If we are forced to have to pay that out, we could possibly bankrupt our city and the surplus that we have in the general fund. Another thing is we've gone through a huge transition. About a decade ago, we were bringing in about $60, $70 million, but we had an annual budget, 60 or 70 million. Now we have an annual budget roughly about $30 million. So we need to rebuild our infrastructure. Another thing that I've been doing, I've been networking with business leaders who want to invest in our city, to have public-private partnerships. They've done it in downtown Detroit. They want to do it here. So the biggest key and the biggest issue is rebuilding our tax base and creating revenue for our city, and that will allow us to generate income and to generate revenue to rebuild our community and spend it on the things that matter to us, our community, our seniors, our youth, our roads. Thank you.
Mr. Dover?
Thank you. We got to right the wrongs of the city employees that haven't received all their benefits. We got to take care of them. We got to provide services for our mentally ill and people that may be going through different changes. We got to be a provider for healing and helping people, okay? And then we can get to the infrastructures and other things that we see that's not right in our city. But I strongly believe that we got to right our wrongs for the people with their pensions and other things that goes on with city employees that have to take care of.
Thank you. Ms. Walker?
One of the things is we do have a plan for the city. And when I present the budget as required by the charter to the city council on next Monday, May 15th, is required. We will acknowledge the fact we do have a $14 million fund balance. It's taken a while to build that. But the fund balance is much higher than we have to have as a city. It gives us security. It's actually about 43% of our revenue. We only need to have 15 to 20%. So we're going to be able to use that fund balance for things that have been long delayed, such as fixing our roads. Our roads are in terrible shape. Our sidewalks, for 10 years, we haven't had the money to fix our roads. So we're going to accelerate that. And the plan that I give to the City Council will include an accelerated schedule now to fix our roads, Orchard Lake and so many others. We have about 10. In addition to the fact that we also have the money now for the youth recreation to bring programs back to our children. My children grew up playing baseball and t-ball. We haven't had that for our youth. And that's one of the things we can use to supplement. And the other thing is the neighborhood improvement power projects that we brought.
Mr. Bowman.
I believe the question was in regards to the city budget. First and foremost, the city didn't just happen to fall into this situation that we were in. We were overspending. When you kick the largest employer out of the city of Pontiac, when you kick the largest taxpayer out of the city of Pontiac, and you all of a sudden now have to close up everything, budgets are allocated, monies are given, 4 roads every year to the federal government, and we are, the conduits through this county to us. First and foremost, we've got to increase our revenue. Louis Schimel said it best, you cannot cut your way to fiscal stability. And that's what we've done. We've cut and cut and cut until we can't cut anymore. What we have to do is induce industry to come to the city of Pontiac. There are a number of businesses that I've been engaged with, Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies who want to come to this area and check us out. What we've got to do is streamline the process so that they can come in here and do business. That's my pledge to the citizens of the city of Pontiac, to make sure that they come here so that we can increase the revenue, so that we can do the things that need to be done for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holland?
One of the things we have to realize, we can't do any and everything with this budget. So some of the things, it's not even in the preview of the city budget. The second thing is, Mr. and Mrs. Pontiac, we don't have a surplus until we have 2 litigations that need to be settled. Period. And when the litigation is settled, and at the end of the day, that's when you figure out where you're at. And lastly, what we're going to do as mayor, when I say we're going to do a line item budget so we'll know where all the money is. So when we were first elected, I'm going to do a forensic audit to see where every nickel, penny that belongs to you, where it's at and where it's supposed to go. At the end of the day, you're going to hear a whole lot of promises about what should have been done, and I'm telling you what I'm doing now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson.
In terms of our budget, once again, I want to engage our citizens in terms of what do they see that the city needs to do. And we need to prioritize. I mean, we know a lot of things that are very much needed here in the city of Pontiac, like our roads, youth recreation here in the city of Pontiac, education here in the city of Pontiac. All of those things would be monies that would be spent in the community. But first, I would engage our citizens. I would engage our citizens because our citizens have great ideas, have great things that they want to see happen here in the city of Pontiac. So it has to be more than just top-down government where the government makes all of the decisions, because we have citizens here in the city of Pontiac who have ideas, they have thoughts, they have things that they bring to the table as well. We also have to engage businesses that want to come here in the city of Pontiac. We have to be a welcoming city here in the city of Pontiac where businesses that come here, we cut through a lot of the red tape that we currently have here in the city of Pontiac. And make Pontiac be a friendly place where people can do
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's give our panelists another hand. This will be the last question from the Democratic Club, the prepared questions from our Democratic Club, and then we'll transition to a couple of the questions that our audience has raised tonight. The last question from the Democratic Club is, what specific actions would you take as mayor to develop a strong working relationship with the next city council? We'll begin with you, Mr. Patrick.
Well, what I would do with city council is talk with the council and see what they feel their vision is and match up their vision with my vision. Together, we can make a difference. But in order for us to move this city forward, I have to know what the council's intent is and explain where I want to go and where I'm willing and want to take this city as a whole. Together we can move forward, but we have to be able to communicate. We also have to be transparent in regards to working with the council. It cannot be a situation where I am the mayor and I dictate to the council. We have to work together in unison. We have to create a partnership. And I think that somewhere in this process, that has gotten lost. I also feel that as opposed to being a one mayor type organization, we need to make sure that we're working together, and together we can move this city forward. And we can only do that by working together.
Thank you. Ms. Ryan?
Success in the mayor's office is crucial to the relationship that I would have with my partners, the city council. Understanding that unique relationship and cultivating that relationship is a key. For far too long, we've had a hostile environment where it's the mayor's office versus city council. And it's not just with city council, it's also with local government, county government, and also state government. We have to include everyone. We have to cultivate those relationships, sitting down, meeting with council, understanding and respecting them, respecting that they are also elected officials, and not having a hostile environment where it's us in the mayor's office versus them in the city council, and also allowing them from a general fund perspective, supporting that to allow them to do their jobs better. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tobin?
Thank you. Again, we all know that distrust is stronger than trust in most parts. Okay? So when we get past the imaginary lines and keep the interests of the citizens in hand, there should be no reason why we can't work together. Because again, we are elected officials. We're servants to the city. So there should be no reason why we can't work together if we don't have our own self-interest at hand.
Thank you. Ms. Waterman?
Yes, one of the reasons I was enticed to run for mayor because I saw the friction among our elected officials, and I was inspired to step up and try to bring that. So we are working with the problems of the city. One of my sayings is we have to attack the problems, not each other. And that's the way I've approached everything and tried to be professional, prepared, engaged, and committed. And we've given voluminous information to council to make sure that they had everything. Everything is online now. Any of the records, any of the transcriptions are online, so we are transparent. But in addition to that, we're getting things done. We're getting things done, always been pretty, but we're getting things done, such as that litigation they talked about in terms of the retiree health. We now have a tentative settlement agreement. That is huge for the city. And that's a settlement agreement in which there is no barrier on the taxpayers to pay that. That's going to be taken out of the fund. We're going to restore all the health care benefits to our retirees, but not any additional cost to the city.
Thank you. Mr. Bowman?
There's an old adage that said, team. Team is an acronym. Together, each achieves more. My goal, and I've already stated it to many people, many of you have heard me say this before, once becoming an elected mayor for the city of Pontiac, before being sworn in, my first role of duty is to take the council where we can sit down and look at each other's plans for the city to see that how we can collaboratively work together to move the city forward. It's not about me being the mayor, and it's not about them being the council, it's about us being elected officials to represent the people as a whole. Again, the light that shines in the city of Pontiac is the light of hope that's in the people of Pontiac. If you put your trust in us, we should be able to work together collaboratively to make sure that we're always looking out for the best interests of the people. So one of the first things that I would do in working with the council is for us to sit down together, look at our goals for the city, see where we can work together collaboratively to make those things happen, and then move forward in that vein.
Thank you, Mr. Hahn. Question again is, what specific actions would you take as mayor to develop a strong working relationship with the next city council?
Simply put, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Simply put, tell us the truth. Everybody in here, I'll be lying to you and tell you that we're going to always have a harmonious relationship. Teeth and tongue fall out sometimes, but they still got to work together. But when you're working on behalf of the citizens or the people you grew up with, respect with, love, and cherish, tell the truth. And when the truth is not told, that's when you get the passion out of people on city council. Period. Tell the truth. And once you see that transparency transfer over to the council, then you'll see a more harmonious relationship. But as of now, when the truth is not being told, you got to dig, scratch, search, find, and look for the truth, or it'll make anybody in this room mad when you get lied to.
Thank you. Mr. Jefferson.
As mayor and working with the council and making sure that we have better relationships, I would always make sure that we all remember we're public servants, put in these positions to serve the citizens of Pontiac and not ourselves. I would also want to hear what each and every council person has in terms of ideas for their district. What have they done in terms of going out talking to the citizens in the district? Once again, it's about engaging the citizens and bringing that information back to the city because we're serving the citizens. It's not about what I would want as a mayor, what any council person would want as a council person. It is about what the citizens of Pontiac wants because this is what people are elected to do, and that is serve the citizens. Each and every individual is a public servant, and I would make sure that each and every council person would make sure they remember that. Thank you.
Thank you. Our mayoral candidates. Unfortunately, with respect to time, and we want to ensure, Ms. Lance Richardson, on that final question, what specific actions would you take as mayor to develop a strong working relationship with the next city council?
I think what's important is one of the things is from the top, from the mayoral office, is if they ask you for a contract with someone that you're working with, make sure you provide it for them. And all of the contracts need to be reviewed collectively, okay? And so even with the deputy mayor, you need to know what that contract says so you can work with those people, okay? And you understand, as well as all the other contracts need to be reviewed collectively so you can see where the money's going, where you're looking in terms of contracts being renewed and the services not being provided in a good way. That doesn't make sense. And the other part of that is you want to make sure that collectively behind the doors you're sitting there, and not only do you have a vision, but you actually know what you need to do to make sure that all levels of government are engaged and use the money appropriately. And then we go back and review some legal documents so that we know what our options are in terms of making a difference and bringing some things back that have been taken away. There's always a way, and the law has loopholes.
Thank you. I apologize for my oversight in that regard. Again, to each of you who submitted questions, we want to thank you for those submissions. With respect to time, we only will unfortunately have one question for these candidates to be able to address. And certainly we all recognize that in order for any city to be successful, not only is it important for the city council and the mayoral administration to be successful, but also for our school district to be successful. And so in that regard, there's a question raised by our audience regarding education being a common thread of education. Specifically, what will you do with the Pontiac School District to ensure that they are successful? And then the question ends by saying the school system, quote unquote, sells houses. So again, regarding education, common thread of education, specifically, what will you do with the Pontiac School District to ensure that they are successful? And the statement, the school system, quote unquote, sells houses. We'll begin with Ms. Wright.
The success of the school district is incumbent on the success for the city. For far too long, we have a horrible stigma within our city. One of the major components of my campaign is rebuilding our community and rebuilding our economic development through public-private partnerships. I also would express I would have a very welcoming relationship with the school board trustees, also with the superintendent, and also from the state level, and from my position to petition to the state to try to provide as many resources as possible that we can to our students and for outside activities and initiatives. One of the things that we're seeing right now that is a lot of issues at the forefront of the community is with the youth millage, not having a plan. I think we need to rely on our relationship with the school district and also with the religious community to implement that plan and make sure that our students are successful.
Thank you. Mr. Toller.
I say this, okay? The schools belong to the community. The schools belong to the taxpayer. So we passed the millage for the youth back in November, and I don't understand why we're just not simply using the schools for the kids. Not only the kids, but for the parents, and we can have community education. We need resources, and we can provide them and all types of knowledge right through our schools. See, a lot of times we want to hold our stuff like we own it and make it our own personal playground. It don't belong to us as individuals. It belongs to you. So again, it's real simple. We strengthen the school district by working together collectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren.
And Mr. Tolbert, we did meet the school district, and we're happy to know that is one of the things we're going to do, to use the youth millage, to use some of the resources the school district has. I've often said that the schools and the city of Pontiac are bound together in success. As businesses come, a lot of businesses are coming back. We want people to live and to consider Pontiac as a safe, beautiful place to live. And they ask about the school district. So we realize, although we can increase the city of Pontiac and move forward with progress, that our school district being healthy is also important. So people have places for their children to live, so that's important. So we are working with the school district in terms of providing some of the youth recreation activities that we are planning for this summer, because that is part of the millage. But in addition to the fact that I started out with the passion for schools and for education. You know, I started out because the library closed and I wanted to bring books to the children. So that's really how I started out. That's my passion. And that's what is so important for me, education, because that is the path to success for so many of our children.
Thank you. Mr. Bowman.
First and foremost, we have to have an open door policy, not just with the city hall, but with our school district as well. They have to work collaboratively together. My plan is to make sure that we have an open door policy where we are working together to move the city forward. There's an old saying that the children are our future. And if we want to take an honest look, many of us have failed our future miserably. We have to reinvest. We have to create relationships with our state and our governmental officials so that we can work on getting that per pupil allocation changed. That's the first thing that we need to do. There's a problem where Pontiac is only getting so much per student. At one point in time, $7,500 a student, when West Bloomfield is getting $12,000, upwards of $12,000 a student. If you want to change that, you want more money coming back here, it has to be taking place at the state level, at the federal level. We've got to go after those individuals first to make sure that the money is flowing where it's supposed to. A lot of it is played a whole lot inside of urban communities, but a lot of that money doesn't come back to the urban communities. We need to make sure those monies are coming back to our community.
Thank you. Mr. Holland?
Well, I just wanted to do a reality check. The first thing we have to do is get the state out of our business. They are over in the city hall as well as the school board trying to control things. I'm already working with the school board trustees in the community. The youth millage that everyone is talking about came off my desk with the attorney. I wrote the youth millage with the attorney, and there was a plan. But they didn't think the youth millage was going to pass. Then when it passed, and my people filled that city council room, then all of a sudden somebody said, okay, yeah, I'm on board. That's why we don't have a plan now. But if they would knock on city council doors and we can slide them the plan that we did when we originally wrote that youth millage, we would have a building open right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Jefferson.
For our school and our city, relationships. We have to build better relationships with our school district and, in terms, relationships with our youth. Our youth are so important, but they don't feel important. We have to let them know that they're important. We have to build relationships with the state of Michigan. There are state laws, state policies that we must follow. We have to build relationships with the school district, relationships with the state, relationships with our youth here. Most importantly, letting them know that we care. We have to build relationships with our teachers. Our teachers are extremely important in this city, and we have to support them. We have to think of creative ways in which we can support our teachers. We have teachers who are great teachers inside of our school districts, but they're unable to teach students because the classrooms are being out of control. We have to support our teachers. We have to support our district. We have to support the state. We have to support the city of Pontiac. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lance Richardson.
As a teacher and a principal from Pontiac Schools, and currently working with the Pontiac School District and Oakland University in their partnership, it's really important that we reach out and we continue to make a difference. Take the vision that I used when I was a teacher and make sure that every student, every parent has an opportunity, have an input, and also be able to go out and make a difference, not only in the community. I can tell you that even with the $7,500 that we allotted for our students, that we can still make a difference. We had students from Pontiac Central High School to go to Washington, D.C., to Georgetown University, and come out on top as winners, okay, with kids from across the world. It's important that we make a difference with all that we do in the classroom, outside the classroom, make a difference with Oakland University, so that we have them to come in and have a satellite program in downtown Pontiac. And use TIFA, and when companies come, that they make a difference.
Thank you. Mr. Patrick.
We have to support our school district and make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to be successful. We have to make sure that we're working to come up with goals, and also DHS is currently in the school district. We have to look at also as a whole unit, look at the family, because often some of the issues is that some of these kids go home hungry on the weekend and don't have any food, so you have to address the family issue. The other issue is that we have to make sure that the schools provide a curriculum that's providing the basic educational tools they need, but also has some electives in there to make it fun for school. We just can't simply look at school and call it school. We have to have a vision. We have to make it interesting to those children so that they get the education that they need. Together, we can do this. It's all about partnering. We can move this city forward.
Amen. Thank you. Let's give our parents one more hand. At this particular time, we know that time is escaping us and need to transition to our city council, but we will allow for 90 seconds for our mayoral candidates to each provide us with a closing statement. And we'll start with Mr. Jefferson.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. And I just want to say, as a mayor in the city of Pontiac, one thing you'll get in me is an individual who is honest and true. I don't have any hidden agendas. I just graduated with my master's degree in public administration with a concentration in economic development and community development 3 Saturdays ago. You're just going to get somebody who will work here in the city of Pontiac. That's what it's going to take. I mean, these are long-term goals that we have here in the city of Pontiac. We must have to understand that we didn't get in these conditions overnight. We're not going to get out of them overnight. But we have to work together, and like it's been said plenty of times tonight, working together, we can get things done here in the city of Pontiac. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Craig Jefferson. Ms. Rosie Lance Richardson.
As your new mayor, I can tell you that it's important that we collectively work together, that not only from the legislative and the executive branch, that within the community, that we reach out to one another. And I can say that I have knocked on a young person's door and say, okay, on Saturday, you've got to come to school because you've got to graduate. But on the other part of that, we look at the Pontiac Public Library. I remember when I got on the board, one of the things people said, I didn't even know the library still existed. One of the things was says that we had $1 million savings at the library, but our facilities was falling apart. So if we look at what we have for our entire city, we know that we can make a difference, okay? We can utilize dollars that are allocated for certain things. In addition to that, we can go in our communities and make sure that what we need for everyone, that we're going to impact our entire city so that people are excited about that, whether we're invested in the MOGO program where you have bicycles in the community so people can come downtown, or whether we have programs downtown or businesses downtown, whether we have truck vendors for food, a whole host of things. Resolving the issues that we have with the FEMA Center and Retirement Board. It's just important that we impact everything we have for the entire citizen, including my family, okay? And so it's important, and I urge you to vote for me, for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Al Patrick.
Thank you. For 20 plus years, I've had the opportunity to work with the residents and the business owners of this city. I've had the opportunity to work with our current mayor and all of the mayors before her. I've been able to provide employment at the youth level, the young adult level, the senior level. I've been able to provide utilities and help young folks be able to stay into their homes. I don't know about the other candidates, but I've seen where a young mother maybe she was worried about paying the bills and keeping a roof over her head, and I've made sure that happened. I want to be able to bring in new businesses and retain those businesses and grow those businesses, as well as providing community involvement, making sure that our kids get the activities and get the education that they need. In Pontiac, we have a large health disparity, especially with the African American population. We need to make sure that we address the health by providing programs so that we make sure that seniors lead an active life. We can do this. Together, I keep telling you, please believe me. I've been on this battlefield for a long time, and I want the residents to know that I will continue to roll up my sleeves and work hard for you. I will not let you down. I've had the opportunity to work with Democrats, Republicans, both at the state, at the county, the local municipalities. I've been on that battlefield for you, and I will remain there.
Thank you. Miss Alexandria Riley.
I love this city, and I am willing to dedicate my entire life to make sure that we will be successful. I was born and raised here, as was my mother, Angela Riley, as was my grandmother, the late Selena Williams. So for me, it's personal. For many, many generations, a deep, deep love for the city of Pontiac has been ingrained in me, a sense of service, an obligation to something that's greater than just me. As scripture tells us, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper. So I find it fitting that we're actually here today in a church setting, one that has had a strong foothold within our community for service and soul winning, and also a great faith. We are a community of faith, and daily I walk by that faith to guide me in my decision making. In closing, I'm reminded of a quote by former President John F. Kennedy. He said, "We go to the moon, among other things, not because it's easy, but it's because it's hard." I say to you, all of the citizens of Pontiac, that I am running for mayor of our city, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. I know that we have challenges, and we face many of them. I ask for your prayers, I ask for your support, and I ask for your vote on August 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kerry Toble.
Well, basically, with me, you have a visionary that's result-driven, okay? As I started taking my daughters down to the library, I noticed that there was a strong homeless population there. So what I did, I was instrumental at submitting a program, a GED program, to help the homeless people transition to get their education. And I did that with Miss Rosie Richardson, instrumental, okay? So after we can get them educated, we can also provide jobs and help them become homeowners, okay? So a visionary. A lot of times we talk about things we see, but we don't put no effort behind it. See, we got to stop that. We got to all be vested in the same fight. And that goes back to what I said, 1 hour. If everybody is willing to donate 1 hour of your most valuable asset, which is your time, we can see a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Incumbent, Ms. Dear DeWater.
Thank you. And thank you to the Pontiac Dem Club for hosting this. I've been a lifelong Democrat. That's important, I think, in terms of the values that the Democratic Party holds for this community. And it's certainly been a help to me as we move the community along. But I want to leave you with my message, is that we are on the path toward progress. Pontiac is in a far different situation than we were 3.5 years ago. And that's being told in many ways. In fact, Many citizens realize that. We've got people working together in many ways. It's hard to talk about complex issues in 1 minute, as I've had a chance to talk about that. But we're going to talk about it more at the State of the City, which I'm required to give annually. It's going to be June 20th, the Flag Star. There's flyers here. And at that, we're also going to give awards to people who have come together in the community. We had neighborhood empowerment awards, in which we're using some of the city surplus to give awards to groups that have come together, neighborhood groups, block clubs, nonprofits, who have come together to come with a project that would beautify the city in some way. So they're going to finish those projects by June 30th, and we're going to award those to the State of the City, as well as talk about other signs of progress in the city. One of the things this city has not had for a long time is just consistent leadership. That's one of the things that has impeded our progress. And I'm asking for your vote to continue to sustain the progress we have made. I need your vote to say that, yes, you like the way the path Pontiac is on. We've been ticking off the problems here: financial stability, getting rid of the tab, the treasury out of our business, and restoring our power as a city.
Thank you. Mr. Koenig,
To me, it's somewhat simple, but yet complex at the same time, if I can say that as an oxymoron. The city's in the situation that it's in because the city didn't move when it should have moved into the next millennium. We don't need to rebuild the city of Pontiac. The city of Pontiac has already been built. We need to take Pontiac to the next level of greatness. We've been stagnated for years based upon leadership. We've had plans that this city has paid thousands of dollars for every 10 years, but yet no one follows the plan. We consistently talk about what's wrong with the city, but what about what's right with the city? The people are what's right with the city. And we just have to figure out a way to come together to move this city forward to the next level of greatness. You heard me open up and say that there's a light that shines in the city. People thought that when Pontiac was phased out the car, that they were going to phase out Pontiac as well. I've heard talk about them splitting up the city, sectioning it off to different areas. Pontiac is alive, Pontiac is vibrant, and Pontiac is on the uprise. What we have to do is make sure that we work together to keep it going in that direction. Again, I'm asking for your vote so that we can continue to make this city move forward and take it to the next level of greatness. It's not about me, it's about us working together. Again, team, together, we can achieve more. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mark Holland.
We deserve better, simply put. I'm asking you guys to promote me from one end of the hall to the next end of the hall because I'm already, along with my colleagues, doing the mayor's responsibility in her job. She's getting the credit for it, but we're doing it behind the scenes. So if I'm already doing the job, I'm already doing the budget, I'm already meeting with investors, I'm already taking care of business so we can have more money in our general fund. So why not go ahead and run for the job and get promoted and make sure that the citizens get well represented? It's just simply put, when businesses come in here, they know if they see Mark Holland, they're going to have to give something to this community. Whether it's 5% Pontiac people employed, whether they got to do something with these streets or do something. And another thing we need to do, we need to start taking care of ourselves. We got a lot of small businesses in our community that need some of these contracts, whether it's cutting the grass or putting asphalt in the hole. We can do that right here in our city, diverse in our city, and take care of ourselves. I am not asking you to do something. I am not asking you to promote me or what I'm going to do or what's going on. I'm asking you to promote me because I'm already doing the job. Thank you so much.
At this time, I'm going to ask, and I want to thank, again, each of our mayoral candidates for being respectful of the time that was allotted to each of them to answer the questions. Let's give them another hand for the outstanding job they've done. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you. And given the fact that we did start a little bit behind schedule tonight, we're doing fairly well with time. We hope to have you out of here by 8 o'clock, but certainly if you can give us until about 8:15, we should be out of here. And one of the ways that you can help us in ensuring that we are moving forward in a timely manner